This is everybody's day. This is everybody's day.
Manifold had I walked, so God, in wisdom thou hast made them all. The ram was also climbing, and then what will catch the ram was also in place. The ticket was already there, interwoven shrubs. And so by the time the ram got there, the horns were stuck in the ticket, waiting for the person that will kill it. The next time you look into your environment and you do not find the provisions of God, ask him where. If I had stayed in Lagos, I would have died. Because there was something I called provision in Lagos. It came with sweat. The little I have now comes with ease. Because I'm in the matrix of my expression. This is where God sent me to. And from here I can advance anywhere and come back here. This is where I'm strongest. Maybe you don't know. I know some people say, when you travel out of town, you used to do plenty things. This is where I'm strongest. Look for my sermons. You find out this is the place where I'm most inspired. And there's nothing inside this place. You saw when they were building this. Some of you used to pray around here. There's nothing inside here. But this is where God has sent me to. So there are systems of discomfort. There are systems of provision or supply. There are also systems of purpose. God moves his people by the communication of purpose. There are also systems of interruption. You may want to journey with Saul. Saul was going in a particular direction. God, now from the road to Damascus, moved Saul all over Asia Minor by an interruption. So you must learn how to interpret adversity, because sometimes adversity is God summoning you to move. Somebody say move. Okay. Now these systems are designed to operate as baiting systems. The concept of a bait is that there is something behind something. And so the one who uses a bait understands the frame of the one who is being baited, and then offers you something that you cannot say no to, so that it can bring you into a place that you will not willingly come. In the day heaven baits you, may you bite the bait. All right. Now, where's my wife? I need somebody to find out why she's not in church. So, our neighbors tonight, which is from Moab to Bethlehem, is built around a metaphor. And the metaphor, is built around the metaphor Naomi. So, Pastor, what is the meaning of Elimelech, right? What's the meaning of Elimelech? My God is king. So I want you to store it in your head. My God is king. What's the meaning of Naomi? Okay, in the Bible, the name Naomi means pleasant, sweetness.
My delight.
My
delight.
And delight.
My delight.
I
delight.
I delight. So, my God is king, married, I delight. So Elimelech in modern day must have been like, what you have there is my God is king?
Yes, sir.
So it means God was his private possession. Elimelech here looks like a born again brother, because God has become a private possession. He's not just Lord, he's not just king. You're my king, Abi. You're my God. You're the mighty king, all right. I'm devoted
to your praise.
And forever.
And forever.
One more time from your heart.
To your name. I'm devoted to your grace and forever to your name.
So it's possible that this song was, who did the song, sir? Huh? Okay, David Cannon. Okay. I think he plays the keyboard too. Okay. Maybe the first person that sang this song was Elimelech on the way to Moab. You're my king, you're my Lord. Please help me welcome my brother. You must not go there. I know he wants to escape. Help me welcome my brother. He's one of the finest pastors around my life. You see, he's wearing trainers too. You don't know he's a senior, he's a reverend, but he likes to freestyle like this. This is Reverend Ikotu. I love him. Let me tell you a short story. I want to follow my story. One day when I met my wife, I don't know what I did. Okay, my wife used to give me times. She had not agreed to marry me. So she told me one of the rules was you must not call me after 9 p.m. So one day I now called at 9. She did not pick. She now picked. Said, don't call me after 9. Another day I called after 9. I think she now perceived that I was a man who didn't understand boundaries. She now said, I will not marry you. I won't even be your friend. I now said, me, I can do relationship one-sided. I now thought over that thing throughout the night. There was only one person I could talk to plead my cause. That one person is my brother and my friend. So the last time we met in Lagos, both of us were speaking and we were thinking, see what this gift that God has given us has become. We could have had options, but we insisted. And then the woman that said I will not marry has married with 2 children now. What are you looking at? What are you talking about? So we are here. Thank you, sir. I didn't know it was going to come. And you know, it's a senior man, so how do I preach now? Should I just give him a microphone? Or I should continue? Oh yeah, choose one. Choose for me now. I should continue. Okay. All right. So I'm saying Elimelech's name actually means my God is king. It advertised someone who lived in the consciousness of the government of God. But in spite of what his name meant, his motions did not advertise government. Why? Because scripture advertised to us that a famine broke out in Bethlehem. And this man migrated not because his king or his God, who is his king, gave him instructions to go to Moab. He was moved by supply. So his true king was supply. His true king was bread. That's why I said he may have been singing, you are my king, you are my Lord. That's how some brothers sing the song on the way to Moab. It's the falsehood of acknowledgement. And I know that scriptures, in my study I didn't look at their names, but I just knew that as I was reading, that the name meant something. The name was actually an indictment. It was supposed to be a facility with which God reminded him that I'm the one that governs you. Your desires are designed to stem from me. I am not just everybody's God. I am not just everybody's king. I am your God. Or I am your king and I am your God. We cannot overflog that name, that nomenclature by which the Christ is introduced to us, he is introduced foundationally as Lord. You are safest under his government. So the day he left, that's how I must tell the ladies, if the guy cannot hear God, tell him to give you time, not to make up your mind. Tell him you will give him time to go and hear God. The young man is a risk waiting to happen. There's something we used to say. You know what an IED is? Like all those things that Boko Haram used to make. It's called an improvised explosive device. So it can be a glass bottle with petrol and a wick. It's improvised. It's like a disaster that is waiting to be occasioned. Because scripture says that the way of a man is not in him. To aid us in getting past that gap in our existence. The gap that advertises as the inability to make your way through life. That's why God introduces himself as Lord and King. That if I govern you, you will not miss your way. Only God knows why they gave Elimelech that name. But Oruka Oro, that's what I'm trying to say. And I know that you say that you belong to Jesus. That's a strong nomenclature to define yourself. I pray to God that the one you are professed as Lord will truly govern your life, because life will test your resolve. He was like a ball that rolled out of the field into throwing, but he did not roll out alone. He rolled out with a wife and rolled out with a son. Are you with me? In the same way, there are believers who have veered off the path of accurate existence and are beginning to tell tales, building experiences across narratives that are not captured in the faith. Am I saying that on the path of life there are no challenges? There are. But lo, I am with you. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. The presence is what makes the difference. Let's go on. So the Bible said to us that when they arrived, the man who made the choice of migration was the first one that died. What they went in search of was life. But what they met was death. There was bread truly in Moab, but there was also death in Moab. There was something in Moab that could satisfy them in the natural, but there was a spiritual entity that laid in wait for them. And as providence will have it, it was the man who led this party in journey that died first. So if you call them, you will have thought that they reduced. But there were facilities in Moab to keep you there long. So the sons now married. They went as 4. They lost 1, became 3, and now they have become, thou hast increased thy people, and you have made them stronger than their enemies. That must have been what Naomi quoted. May you not testify of increase in the day of your misalignment. What I advertised in that prayer is the movement structure. Adam, Reverend Kotu is here now. I'm just telling you, he's here now. So we are grateful for our intervention. Yes. Yes. So I'm saying that, what if she woke up and said, let's go home? Death has happened to us. They will have arrived as 3. One of the things that inspired this, my narrative, was that I sat with nations and we're watching his cartoon, The Armor of God, and the story was Ruth. My heart caught when Naomi came back, because as she was going, you know, her name meant pleasant, my delight. So the way they rendered Naomi in that cartoon was that she was a beautiful person. She was the woman everybody wanted to marry. This guy who came with a king that was God was the one that wrestled the woman from everybody. So the men were gossiping. Is that not Naomi? Where is the man that prevailed? Where are the sons that came out of that union? Everything that looked like a covering to her had been shed because she went on a strange journey. You still don't know where I'm going, so stay with me. So they became 5. The discomfort that will have come to that woman because of the absence of her husband was covered up with by this new entrance into the family. So it became a larger family, and according to scriptures, they are both there for how many days? Another 10 years. Until what struck on arrival struck again, took the 2 sons, and then the number now became 3. At this point, Naomi knew that she had reduced. The death of her 2 sons must have unlocked her ears. Please don't wait till everything dies before you go home. Don't wait. Don't wait. They are foundationals to everybody. They are additions to everybody. Foundational to Naomi was Elimelech. The children were additions. When your foundationals die, go home. So maybe you started with prayer. You started with the study of the word. You started with Jesus. And then Jesus has now added popularity and money. When prayer dies, go home. Are you with me? What gives you a life are your foundationals. No matter how much people love you, and I'm speaking to ministers now, no matter how much people throng you, if your fellowship with Jesus, how you started, if it has died, go home. Think kanta ba fi tele ba ti ku ko sin kanti o le kuma. If the foundation dies, every other thing will die. It is just time. If your fellowship with Jesus dies, leave ministry. Because after a while, the ministry itself will die. So the Bible said to us that the 2 sons died, and then she now arose with her 2 daughters. And it was that she might return to from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab. So the news had journeyed as far as Moab to tell her that the Lord had visited the people in giving them bread. Good. So I want to do a few word studies as we begin to journey to the end. From Moab to Bethlehem. So what does Moab mean? In my study, the word Moab means of his father. Of his father. It means someone who belongs to his father. Someone who came out of his father. You'll find out that the name Moab itself is falsehood. Because it was a name that the daughters of, one of the daughters of Lot gave to her son. And that would not have been a good definition, an accurate definition to define her son. What do you think she should have called her son? Of? Don't we have Bible students here? She should have called him of my father. Because that child, that boy, was born out of an incestuous relationship. The daughters tricked their fathers into drunkenness and had carnal knowledge of him. So it's reverse rape. And they were impregnated from mating Did they use mating for people? They were impregnated because of sexual intercourse with their father. So calling that son of his father was wrong. The real name of that son was of my father. It means me and my son were siblings. You see how corrupting that network is. That was the nation that the man who claimed that God was his king went to. It advertises the believer who deliberately, because of sustenance, decides to mingle with a corrupt system. A system that expresses in as an affront to the will of God. I was sharing during the contact that somebody was testifying of increase as a minister. And when we probed to find out how did this increase come by, he switched into Yoruba and said, Ọlọ́run fi àwọn Yahoo boy kan ṣàánú wa ni. Moab stood for a system that was produced from corruption, a system that advertised illegitimate fatherhood, an illegitimate existence. It was a manipulative source that Moab had. But even manipulative sources, even illegitimate sources, sometimes have what a believer needs. You will need to wait on God or fellowship with compromise. But the story of Naomi advertises to us that when one who has acknowledged God as his king leaves the boundaries set for him by God to go in search of sustenance outside God, what he comes back with is death, even though his needs can be met. The night is getting darker, and one of the things that naturally comes with the darkening of the day is that boundaries become no longer tangible. There are lines that can be drawn during the day. Once darkness sets in, you may no longer be able to look at the back to know that, oh, there's a line here. It means the ease of overstepping your boundaries will become stronger. You need an anchor. And that's why I started with choice. Before the evil day comes, you must have chosen Jesus. And then you will have willed your stay to the Christ. The apostles had a prayer that I love to pray. Unto him who is able to keep from falling. Your will is not strong enough. If they bring your size of temptation, only God will save you. Are you with me? I've seen people say no matter the amount of money they bring. I know that there are two indexes that can produce that claim. One is that the money they are bringing, they sent it in writing. Are you with me? Maybe they sent 100 million in writing. 100 000 000 dot 00. Say no, I'll follow Jesus. When that money comes in, a Ghana must go. And it's mint. You know, mint has an odor. You say, I will. What may come into your mind are the things you will do for God. Say, this is our pastor that is shouting every day. If I buy him 10 suits. Say, John. Let's look for one car and buy for John now. Abina. You remember the story that Papa Omaupai said? I think somebody met him some years ago. Destitute. So he told him, do you know that you'll be one of the richest men in this nation? And then prayed, the guy left. 7 years later, the guy shows up and says, oh, I was the one that you prophesied to. I'm one of the richest men in this nation. So I'm bringing an offering. 13 billion So this is 13 billion. He said he now told the guy, come. Thank you. But God did not tell you to give me 13 billion. He told you to give me 1 billion. Okay, you don't know the God that speaks like that. The God you know is the one that increases the expenditure when the money exceeds the budget. Okay. That's why some people are strong and some people are weak. Consecration. I will not take more than God. Now, meanwhile, that 1 billion was not spent by him. He shared it to pastors. And according to the story, the one who did not get among those pastors, he now gave the keys of PFN and CAN to that person. So we now had the event of one man being head of PFN and CAN at the same time. That was the share he gave that person because he could not give the person money. Selah. It means he still gave the person money. Okay, you don't understand what I said. If you don't understand it, forget about it. But I'm saying he still gave money. Okay. Now, he said his wife now, and if you listen to Baba, you know that he and his wife, they relate very fondly. So his wife now told him, what kind of thing is that? That excess 12 billion. Don't you know that there are a lot of things we can use that money to do for God? He now told his wife, is it about what we use money to do for God or what God said we should get? What he was saying to his wife was, it's a straight road, it's a narrow way. You cannot extrapolate even your blessedness. The 12 billion, I'm speaking in mathematics now, the equation of increase advertises the 12 billion not within the context of the equation. Y is equal to 0 plus x and x is equal to 1 billion. That's the equation. It's possible that that 0 is manipulated and that's what was going to happen. Y is equal to 12 plus x, or 12 billion plus x, and x is equal to 1 billion. So it was 0 that they replaced with 12 billion. And he said, no, I know the equation. The equation is 0 plus 1 billion. That 12 billion can open the gate of death. And things begin to die, because whatever Jesus has not offered you will give the enemy a gate to enter your life. Are you listening to me tonight? Any door that Jesus does not open, that you open by cravings, that you open by networking, that you open by manipulation, that gate will not only allow in what you desire, it also has the potential to allow in what the enemy will use to destroy you. We'll go to pray shortly. Naomi heard in the country of Moab that God had visited his people in giving them bread. What does Bethlehem mean? It's called the house of bread. What drove them out in the name of famine was that the identity of their location changed. I don't have time. I'll have expanded my labors a little. I hope you know that the prophecies of the coming Christ was captured within this city. It was Bethlehem, Ephrathah. Are you with me? So they were Ephrathites. The name was the house of bread. When you study, I was doing a study in scriptures earlier today and looking at the concept of bread, and I saw that Jesus advertised this location as his location, but he was advertising himself in the context of the house of bread. I am the living bread. And 4 times or so in the book of John, he referred to himself as bread. So it's like saying the house of Jesus. So there were 2 civilizations, and that's why I started tonight. advertising to you that the most important gift God will give you is what? Is a Christ. But that to apprehend that gift, he will give you another connecting gift, and it is choice. What famine did to them was that he put them on a table to choose. To choose to stay in the house of bread, or to choose to go into the land of corruption. And I came to announce to you today that that choice stares every one of us in the face. To embrace the flesh or to stay in the spirit, even in seasons where it looks as though being in the spirit is not productive. I will rather experience a famine in the house of the Lord than to experience abundance in the courts of the ungodly. There are choices we must make. The Lord has a hill. Babylon too has built hills. And so as I studied, you know, my wife, when she went to sleep, I was just going to greet her. Said, sorry, I just came back, but let me unlock this thing. I found out, because John, when the Lord began to show this to me, I now felt that, okay, since it's ascending, we're talking about that maybe Moab was on the lower ground, and then Bethlehem was on the high ground. But this was my finding. Now I found out that both journeys were journeys to heights. So Moab, the book says, was located in the highlands east of the Dead Sea in modern day Jordan. So it's around modern day Jordan. And the place is characterized by fertile plains and rolling hills. So the vegetation there is very lush. It also says that Moab was known for its highlands and pastoral grazing economy. So it's like the herdsmen brought their animals to eat. The grass there was good. Are you with me? Now, by measurement, Moab was on 3,000 feet, about 900 meters above the Mediterranean Sea. On the other hand, Bethlehem was also located in the highlands, especially situated in the Judean mountains or the Judean hills around the West Bank. It said that Bethlehem sits on 775 meters. Remember, the other one was 900 meters. So Bethlehem was about 2,543 feet. Moab was about 3,000 feet. So Moab in the natural was higher than Bethlehem. So if what we want to compare is height for height, in the day you hear the word ascend. If we journey and we end our journeys, those who ascended to Moab will look as though they are higher than the man who ascended to Bethlehem. The reason will be because the metric system is meters and feet. In the journey of destiny, in the journey of apprehending what God has in mind, meters cannot capture the reality. I used to have a friend. He lives in Ajah now. He's a big real estate guy. It's only on his birthday he says, pray for me, pray for me. My friend used to work in a bank. That's how we became close. A fraud now happened in their bank. I don't know if Pastor Lamide remembers him. So EFCC was already coming to pick them. He now escaped from their bank somewhere around Turkey and ran into 4D. It was not a church day. Ran to that our wooden, okay, how many people know that wooden? We had one small wooden constructors, our podium. Ran, grabbed that thing and cried to the God of that house. When he got back to the bank, the guy that stole the money, he confessed by himself. By himself, that this boy is not one of us. We are the ones that stole money. Meanwhile, the bank has disappeared. So you know the bank now. So one day when my friend was still a student, we were now just gisting, walking around here. He now said, She will not become Yahoo boys like this. I said, why? He said, bro, we may not be able to marry you. How does marriage and Yahoo boy look together? He said, the eyes of our sisters have entered all these cars, and I think the car that time was maybe the Toyota Camry muzzle. That was the car that time. So that when you go to a sister and you say, no, God is helping me. How is God helping your life now? So the question was about what you had. And I don't know how the Yahoo boy industry is doing. Is it still buoyant? No, but you see them now. Are they not students? Is still buoyant? Okay, so John says that now you need is buoyant with spiritual supplements. It means it lacks vitamins. So they vitalize using the spirit. Okay, so it's possible that there are some people here who are still under pressure. How can we meet up? And I've heard ministers say, if the Yahoo boy is serving Satan and has something to show, you claim to be serving God, what do you have to show? As though our showings are by the same metric system. Our God is rich in many things. And before you think, all I want to say is that he's rich in mercy. Because he is. He also says that silver and gold belong to him. And that cattle on not one hill, but 1,000 hills are his. So God is rich in substance. He demonstrates his abundance not in earthly substance. His riches are measured in glory. That's where your supply comes from. That's the way, they are weights of glory. That's how he measures his abundance. Are you getting my point? So we're not trying to preach, because I heard that there are two opposites now. There are actually three. That they are the world standards, and then there are the prosperity preachers. They also say that some people are the poverty preachers. So the prosperity preachers tell members to be afraid of people who want to make them poor. Heaven is not aware of those three classifications. Are you with me? Heaven is not aware. So I'm not saying that you'll be poor. I've not studied poverty, so I don't know how to preach it. But what I'm saying to you is that if you look at Moab and you look at Bethlehem, Moab operates on a higher plane, and it's possible for you to think that height advantage is actually an experiential advantage until you visit Moab. In the day Elimelech journeyed, it was a journey in ascension. He covered almost 450 feet in going to a house of death. It was a choice that he made. In the day that Elimelech died, his two sons died. A call to ascend came from Bethlehem. And it was advertised on the streets of Moab that the next place to go to was to go to Bethlehem, because God had visited his people and he had restored the reality of that house. If you drew the gradient of Naomi's journey, would you have said she was ascending? Because she also had to come down about 450 feet. Yes, about 450 feet to arrive at Bethlehem. But that journey in the spirit was regarded as a journey of ascension. So by whose lenses are you watching? By whose lenses? Sometimes a descent is the way to elevation. And I can give you a few examples in scriptures. From home to the field, from field to the house, from the house to prison, from the prison to the throne. And like I showed you last year was when I did Jesus, the submitted man, right? Was it last year or this year? Last year. When we treated submission, was last year. I showed from Philippians chapter 2, from verse 5 to about verse 11, about 8 layers of the descent of the Christ. Threw away equality with God, took upon the nature of man, became a servant, embraced obedience, made himself of no reputation. What else did he do? Embraced death, and in death he embraced the cross. There were descents. But as he was descending, all of a sudden what we heard was, wherefore God had highly exalted him. It was as though he hit rocket bottom and then he bounced to the highest heights. From Moab to Bethlehem will cost you. There are things that you will need to embrace. You will travel as a circumcision. You worship God in the spirit. You rejoice in Christ Jesus, and your confidence in the flesh will be consciously lost. On that descent that ultimately equals ascension, they don't do things to you. Everything that leaves you, you give away. Are you with me? He took upon himself the nature of a servant. He made himself of no reputation. He counted it not robbery to be equal with God. He was obedient unto death, even the death of the cross, and then God exalted him. There are a few more things to teach, but we're out of time. And so I want to close with this question. Have you heard that God has visited his people? I've heard believers say that the kingdom is boring. The shape of the kingdom is supposed to be boring when God is absent. Have you heard that God has returned? Have you heard that there's no more scarcity in our dimension? That now he makes all grace abound unto men, so that in all things and at all times they have all that they need, that they may abound in every good work. Have you heard that the weak can now find strength? Have you heard that the struggling can find stability? The cry tonight is that your ears will pick the sound that will gift your feet motion. Was it last year I did migrations? Last year too. Why is last year looking like this year like that? Okay, no, you are the ones listening. I'm the one doing the sermon. So it looks like yesterday. God wants your feet to begin to move. And in the day of your motion, the natural man may adjudge you to be descending. But in the spirit, you are going up. It's a journey of losses. It is so that you can gain. That's what Paul was saying in Philippians chapter 3. Everything he counted as gain, he had to count them as loss. And it was so that he could gain Christ. We have not gone too far, but we lost associates. There were desires that we had that we needed to abandon so that we could apprehend him. I know you want a good life, me too, I want. But you see, what God offers you is good life, and may you embrace it early. So we're excited. I didn't choose this city, God chose it. But the reason why I settled ultimately was that I remembered that we had agreed that the choice of where I will live, he will make it and I will not make it. And I wrote in a book that if I make it, he cannot make it. Are you married now? Are you in school here? What level? 200 level. Have you started praying for marriage? Start praying. Start praying. It can be once a week, but start praying. You don't have to get to 500 level before you see the woman. Before you see the woman. Before you see. I'm not saying before you marry. You may be too busy at that time and your sight may be clouded. God has the prerogative of showing you what he wants to show you when he wants to show you. And you must know how to receive sight before its manifestation. If you wait till they are calling you from, where are you from? Ibadan. Is that where your village is? As in Ibadan. What's the name of your place? Abala here now. You say Ibadan. Okay, Abala is in Ibadan. Okay, those Ibadan. Like Mowe and you are in Lagos. Okay. Yes, now. I be pastor. So it's from Abala. I mean, before they threaten you that if you don't marry, we'll bring you a wife from Abala. If you wait till that time, you can mismarry because you marry under pressure. So God can give the sight at any time. You just focus. It means that you have backed that vision. You just continue your journey. Are you with me? Once God is doing all of that to you, when your friends look at you, they'll say, you are not enjoying life. But the life that Moab gives is mingled life. It's not mingled with pleasantness. Moab strips men. Strips men. Your best life is in Bethlehem, the house of bread. Where your meat, what did Jesus call his meat? To do the will of the Father. That's what happens in Bethlehem. That's the sign that you have arrived. You are feeding on what the visitation of God produced, and his visitations are communications of his will. You will not look like your mate, so. And I need to round up tonight with these words. If you think that when you arrive in God, you will look like your friends who live in Moab, it's a lie. You will not look like them. Bethlehem creates people differently. You may not be able to testify of the things that they have. And if it pleases the Lord, you may have what they have, an extra. But those will not be your icons when you arrive there. The possession of God will be your greatest possession. Because in Bethlehem, God will not just give things, he gives himself. He's the bread in Bethlehem. That's what God told me to tell you. That there are individuals amongst us who are aspiring, who see the call to ascend as a labor to climb up to the highest hills, Moab. Because you think that's where your best life is. There are a lot of drawings in your heart. What should I do? He said to me yesterday that there are people who are even afraid of embracing God because they don't know what damages will come to their lives if they embrace God. You know, when you meet somebody, you get a friend, a young man or a young lady friend in Moab. If you will go to Bethlehem, you will leave them behind. So you may be afraid of a broken relationship. You may be afraid of a disrupted supply. But God beckons on you. It may not look high, but the highest invites you. Come to Bethlehem. Remember that in closing, our labor has been on a return. When Naomi arrives at Bethlehem, she will not be arriving in a new place. She will be arriving in a fresh place. God is saying to say to you that he has animated the structures that make for life and godliness on the heights. Come to Bethlehem. Maybe if Naomi had spawned the notion that there was bread in Bethlehem, what would you think would have happened next? She may have died and she will have been buried in a strange land. Meanwhile, your return, this is closing, is after the narrative of Songs of Solomon chapter 1 verse 4. Because on the larger scope of things, this migration back home was not about Naomi. It was to connect Ruth with the lineage of grace. Draw me and we will come running after you. It was all about Ruth. It was all about Ruth, because Naomi's name faded. There may be someone that God is drawing you for, and may you respond in this day. For some, it's a whole family that they have not come to God because you have decided to stay in Moab. Come home. It may be the people in the hostel where you are. What they lack is a model Christian. And Jesus is saying, come back home. Who will have known that Ruth will have functioned? Do you see the distance between Ruth and David? Because it was Ruth and Boaz. They gave birth to Obed. Obed gave birth to Jesse. And then the next was David, Israel's greatest king. It means that your restoration to the heights is actually God's connecting to aligning someone with ultimate destiny. If you stay in Moab, somebody will waste. So come back home. Do yourself that good, and do God that good by connecting someone that he needs for the story that he's telling in the earth. I may be tempted to stay, but I will go back home. I will return to prayer. I will return to expressing the will of God. I will return to the word. I will return to pure existence. I will return to consecration, not just for me, but that the will of God might be done through me. Somebody's praying tonight. I return. Bethlehem beckons upon you. Bethlehem beckons upon you. And we say yes to you, Lord. We say yes. We say yes. We will not be disobedient to the sounds of heaven. Oh, Jesus, help us. Help us. Help us. We return. We return. No longer tossed between two opinions. We embrace the summons unto Bethlehem. We journey into the land where God is. We come out of corruption. We come out of illegitimate existence. There is a land that looks like the land of thriving. A land that brings no witness to the presence of God. And we journey away. Kababe atoma. El kamano kabasimeno take. Rota kabentemilia. Baria soma. Kemosi atakapai. I return to my lost spiritual intensity. I return to the pursuit of God. Jesus, I embrace my consecrations as before. Opalemo kamete vinta basata. Ekopate me kamate me nakapata korea basela. Aluante boma. Ekefenanta bako sai. Eruafia hante como saitena. We return, we return. We have just another 3 minutes to pray. This place is no abiding place. We come out of the house of death. We journey again unto God. Kopere kapata kapata kapaparata. Rakampana tabonta kaya. Entekamenosaya. Preseveli. Tolu returns tonight. I return. I hear the summons of heaven. I have heard the joyful sound. I engage the work in the light of his countenance. There is favor in Bethlehem. There is supply in Bethlehem. God is in Bethlehem. Life is in Bethlehem. We exit Moab. I will not wait until everything dies. I return. 2 minutes more. Ekamanta papa kotele. Eleketeta vakata. Rakombesia parasata. I return. Ente me come side meletano. We return. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling to the sinner, calling to the strain. Come home. You have stayed out too long. See on the portals, he's watching and waiting. He's calling for you and for me. Come home. Come home. Ye who are weary, you are tired. Come home. Come home. Come and embrace life. Come and embrace truth. Come and embrace your ordinations. You were created for something loftier. We respond. We respond. We respond. Come home. Come home. He who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling, oh sinner, come home. Come home. Come home. Come home. You who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling, oh sinners, come home. Now, before we close, I'll invite my brother to do the closure. There are 3 individuals. And what God is showing me is like 3 candles. There are 3 individuals. Over 3. These candles are over these 3 individuals. And God is saying, you are in Moab. The narratives of Naomi are not strange to you. Things have started dying. Before you are cut off, run to the altar. Come home. Come home. It's time to ascend to Bethlehem. Come. I have just 1 minute. If you are coming, come. If you are coming, come. Things have started dying. Don't wait until it all dies. When you arrive, you can kneel before Jesus. Let's land there. Come down. Come on, stay here. Come. Mr. Christiana, come. You are weary, come on. Earnestly tender. Now, what he showed me were 3 individuals, but if you are coming, still come. It has to be tonight. It has to be tonight. There are things that could die, things that you may not be able to recover if you sit out there. When you arrive, I want you to make a decision. If you will help me, this will be my final journey. I will no longer be known within the context of Moab. In case you are watching online, you want to go on your knees where you are. He calls to come home.